साहेबानं कामगिरी केली.
Professor John will start our program.
Thank you, my friend. So I would like to welcome you to MSU, Michigan State University Karate, meeting Fujian, Sundance and Hubby Slaughter Critical, Kuni, and around So we're very happy to have you. We're looking forward to more people coming. Some of my students will eventually arrive also from my Buddhism class. And so if you see them, please reach out to them. They're very friendly. They're fantastic students. They're excited that you're here too. They've been studying Buddhism and Dr. Ambedkar and his movement for the past semester. Dr. Ambedkar for the past few weeks. So they have some background. They're looking forward to hearing from you. Dr. Santosh and I were giving a talk on Thursday here at MSU about the Ambedkar movement and things like that. So, yeah, very nice to have you here. For those of you who don't know me, I teach here at Michigan State University in the Religious Studies Department. I've been going to India since 1995. I've lived in mostly Maharashtra for almost 4 years, a little over 4 years. And my main research now is on transnational Buddhism and Ambedkarite migration. So I've been speaking to Ambedkarite communities and talking with people in Japan, Dubai, India, UK, Western Europe, US. And so this is a really big part of my research and talking with people like you. In fact, a number of the people in the community have been my conversation partners for almost a decade since I've been here at MSU. So, a little bit of housekeeping. For those of you who are changing costumes, I think there are a number of people now in the audience who know where the changing room is. That's there. If you're looking for restrooms, if you head back in that direction, there's a little bit of a ramp that you can walk up. Take a small left, small right, and there's restrooms there. There's also restrooms back in the corner over there. So, I think without further ado, I'll hand it back to my friends and make move forward. So, great to see you all.
Okay, so Jebim and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Matana Maitriya. I'm your host, Maitriya Wankere, alongside Akanksha Manwadkar, in today's program. Thank you for being able to join us this morning to celebrate the 134th Ambedkar Jayanti. A general overview of our program includes our prayers and an interactive panel discussion until lunch, followed by cultural activities in the second half. Today's event is jointly organized with Michigan State University and the Ambedkar Association of North America. The Ambedkar Association of North America, also known as AANA, was formed in the year 2008 and with the aim to uplift the lives of people who belong to the underprivileged castes in India. AANA's slogan is to educate, agitate, and organize. Our members primarily come from the Bahujan community in India and are committed to a vision of a world free from caste apartheid, religious intolerance, and injustice. We work with all Ambedkarite Americans to achieve dignity and justice through organizing policy innovation, transformative education, and cultural programming. We educate. We work within the United States and Canada to build our members' leadership, resilience, and local power in the many communities that we are part of. We help. We do many events, training programs, and Vihara series that reach thousands of families in the United States and around the world, involving our members and our outlook for change. We build. We work on both secular and faith-based initiatives, but have a core commitment to the socially engaged possibilities of Ambedkarite Buddhism and all around the world. To know more about AANA, please visit www.aanausa.org, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, or if you have any questions, please email us at aanausa@gmail.com. Now, I would like to invite Professor John and Dr. Rao to the stage to light the candles and venerate Dr. B.M. Ambedkar.
जगात त्याच्या नावाची नोंद लिहून आली अशी मोठी भीम साहेबानं
Good morning. First of all, I welcome all of you to this beautiful audience. First of all, thank you, Brother John, to organizing this beautiful celebration. And then another professor who came from Harvard Divinity School. Most welcome, thank you, brother. And all the brother and sister, thank you and Jai Hind. And first start with the chanting prayer. So follow me with the Buddha Vandana first, and then the 5 precepts. Okay. First say Namo Tassa 3 times. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Buddhang Sharanam Gacchami, Dhammang Sharanam Gacchami, Sangham Sharanam Gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddhang Sharanam Gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammang Sharanam Gacchami, Dutiyampi Sangham Sharanam Gacchami, Datiyampi Buddha Saranam Gacchami, Tatiyampi Dhammang Saranam Gacchami, Tatiyampi Sangham Saranam Gacchami. I go down with the enlightened one. I go down with the teachings of the enlightened one. I go down the Sangha, the noble disciple of the Buddha. First, and the second, and the third time. Now, 5 precepts. Panatipata Veramani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami Adinadana Veramani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami Kame Sumichachara Veramani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami Musavada Veramani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami Suramirya Majjapamadatthana Veramani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami. I promise to observe the 5 precepts. The first one is not to kill, not to harm any living being. I promise to take oath not to take anything what is not belong to me or what is not given to me. The third one is I promise to take the precept not to do any adultery. Number 4, I'm not going to lie anything whatsoever. And then number 5, I am not taking any intoxicating drugs or alcohol. This is the 5 precept and then the teaching of the Buddha. Thank you so very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Bante, for the prayer. Now I would like to invite Mrs. Archana and Mrs. Roshni to the stage to recite the Bhim Stuti. The Bhim Stuti is recited to praise the qualities and work as well as show respect to Dr. Ambedkar.
They before you today not just as a speaker, but as a fellow admirer of a visionary whose ideas continue to shape the moral and intellectual fabric of our society. Today, we commemorate a truly monumental occasion, the 134th birth anniversary of Dr. Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar, a luminary whose vision continues to shape the fabric of modern India and beyond. We are all here because we recognize the significance of this day. Yet, I am mindful that some among us, especially those who are not from India or those who are not well acquainted with the history of India, still be discovering the vastness of Dr. Ambedkar's contributions. And so, let me begin by introducing you to the man whose intellect, courage, and relentless pursuit of justice have made an indelible impact on the world. Born on April 14, 1891, into the Mahar caste, a community deemed untouchable that time by the rigid caste hierarchy, Baba Saheb did not just witness discrimination, he lived it. Yet he refused to be shackled by it. Instead, he wielded education as his weapon, securing degrees from Columbia University and the London School of Economics, ultimately becoming the chief architect of Indian Constitution and then India's first law minister. But let us not reduce him just to the titles. He was a jurist who redefined justice, a philosopher who questioned dogma, an economist who understood inequality, a historian who reclaimed erased narratives, a social reformer who envisioned a casteless society, and most relevant to my own field, a public health champion who recognized that social justice and health equity are inseparable. Dr. Ambedkar recognized something that many policymakers, even today, fail to grasp. Public health is not just about hospitals and doctors. It is about addressing the social and economic necessities of the population. He knew that a nation's health is intricately tied to the well-being of its population, especially the laborers. It was this vision that led him during his tenure in the Bombay Legislative Council, 1927 and 1939, between those time periods, to push for 8 hours workday, maternity benefits, and equal pay for women. All groundbreaking reforms in pre-independent India at that time. Under his influence, the Factories Act of 1934 mandated better working conditions, regulated work hours, and improved sanitation standards in workplaces, fundamentally changing labor laws in India at that point of time. He understood that poor working conditions were not just an economic problem, but a public health crisis. He fought for fair wages, arguing that economic deprivation leads to malnourishment, diseases, and ultimately social stagnation. Recognizing the socioeconomic implications of overpopulation, he advocated for birth control, not as a coercive measure, but as a tool of empowerment, enabling individuals to make informed choices for a better quality of life. One of the most powerful examples of Ambedkar's commitment to public health was the Mahad Satyagraha of 1927. At a time when Dalits were forbidden from accessing public water sources, Ambedkar led thousands to the Chavdar tank in Mahad, asserting their right to drink water from it. But this wasn't just about water. It was about health, human dignity, and the right to live free from the disease and social exclusion. Clean drinking water, proper sanitation, and hygienic living conditions were, to him, as fundamental as political rights. Even when drafting the Indian Constitution, he ensured that public health was embedded as a state responsibility under the directive principles of state policy in Article 47. This article emphasizes the state must improve public health and nutrition for its people. As a public health scholar, I see his impact everywhere. From debates on universal healthcare to policies ensuring equitable access to vaccines, his principles still guide us. Baba Saheb's legacy is not a relic of the past. It is a clarion call for the present and the future. This is why today's celebration is not just significant, it is necessary. Traditional birth anniversary celebrations often consist of formal speeches and tributes. But Ambedkar Jayanti is no ordinary celebration. It is a vibrant fusion of intellect and culture. Around the world, Ambedkarites honor him by blending scholarly discourse with artistic celebration, and today's program reflects that spirit as well. In the first half, we will delve into stimulating discussions with Dr. John Quinn and Dr. Santosh Raut as they unpack Dr. Ambedkar's vision of nation building and fraternity. In the later half, we will celebrate with music, dance, and cultural performances, a testament to Baba Saheb's belief in the power of education, art, and collective joy. Before I step aside, I must extend my deepest gratitude to Michigan State University, Dr. John Quinn and Dr. Santosh Raut, and the entire team of Ambedkar Association of North America for their tireless efforts in bringing this event into the life. Finally, let me return to a thought Baba Saheb left with us, one that is profoundly relevant to the ongoing global discourse on public health and social justice. On 15th September 1938, in the Bombay legislature, while debating the provisions of the Industrial Dispute Bill and demonstrating how the bill's clauses would undermine laborers' rights to unionize and their rights to strike, even though that bill was provision to treat both employer and employees on the par, he said, and I quote, "What we want is not equality. What we want is equity. Equality is not necessarily equity. This equity cannot be produced if we propose to treat the strong and the weak, the rich and the poor, the ignorant and the intelligent on the same footing." End quote. As we strive for better public health policies, let us remember that equity, not just equality, must be our guiding principle. Only then we can build the just and inclusive world that Baba Saheb envisioned. Thank you so much, and Jai Hind.
Thank you so much to Dr. Prashit for talking about the significance of today. It is a very important reason why we're celebrating Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's birth. At this time, I would like to welcome the dignitaries for today. I will be first introducing them, then I will call them on stage. First, we have Professor John Koini. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce John Koini, a distinguished scholar specializing in devotional Hinduism and South Asian studies. His current research traces the legacies of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's conversions to Buddhism in 1956 as they play out among his followers within India and beyond. John Koini brings extensive academic expertise to his role at Michigan State University, with a focus on West Central India and popular devotional Hindu traditions. His acclaimed book, Shared Devotion and Shared Food, examines caste dynamics within Bhakti traditions, and he has also co-edited volumes in Bhakti traditions and their interactions with the diverse communities. With the transnational research approach, John Koini explores Buddhist networks and Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's legacy, contributing significantly to scholarly networks and directing efforts to develop the Bhakti virtual archive. Dr. Koini continues to influence students here at MSU and brings awareness to Ambedkarite Buddhism. I would also like to introduce Dr. Santosh Raut. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is also my pleasure to introduce Dr. Santosh Rawat, also known as Maitrivir Nagarjuna, an eminent Dhamma teacher and scholar of Buddhist aesthetics and philosophy. Dr. Santosh is a distinguished scholar in Buddhist aesthetics and philosophy, and an organizer within broader Asian networks of engaged Buddhism. He has joined the EFL University in Hyderabad as an assistant professor and combines this work with his role as deputy chairman of Nagarjuna Training Institute and the co-founder of the Baba Saheb Ambedkar Philosophical Society at Nagaloka in Nagpur. He also co-founded the National Network of Buddhist Youth and is also a research fellow at the Harvard Divinity School. Dr. Rawat continues to influence youth today in the Ambedkarite Buddhism too. Now I would like to invite Akanksha Manwadkar and Vasundhara Sakpar to present Professor John Koini and Dr. Santosh Rawat with a bouquet. I would also like to introduce Dr. Morgan Shipley, who could not be here today due to personal reasons, but he is an associate professor here at MSU. His research projects, teaching, and work relates to focus on understanding mystical and historic new religions that highlight spirituality as opposed to institutional religiosity, positioning individuals and groups who increasingly identify as spiritual but not religious, and situating the nature and manifestations of secular spirituality. I would like Dr. John to take the bouquet as memento on his behalf.
So I know that Dr. Shipley would like to join us today. He had sort of a family sort of situation that's sort of beyond his control, so he sends his regards, and he was looking forward to meeting you, but unfortunately he wasn't able to come. I'll convey this to him. I'm sure he'll be very excited to receive it.
Now we're going to head on to the interactive panel discussion, but I would like to introduce the topic before we start talking. The topic we'll be talking about today is fraternity and Buddhism in Dr. Ambedkar's time and ours. We'll talk about the history of Ambedkar and global diasporas, two ideas of fraternity in Dr. Ambedkar's writings, and what fraternity could mean especially for diaspora Ambedkarites. I would also like to call upon Dr. Rawat and Dr. John to come back to the stage so we can start the discussion.
We have some questions that we would like you to be considering as part of this idea of fraternity in Buddhism in not only Dr. Ambedkar's time, but ours, meaning us here right now. So what we're going to do is talk a little bit about Dr. Ambedkar's final years, about diasporas, about different meanings of the word fraternity. So as Ambedkarites, you're familiar with the word fraternity, although at least in my impression, please correct me if I'm wrong, I think fraternity is not the central word that a lot of people are often using. Equality, definitely. Liberty, maybe not so much, but fraternity, at least as I've talked with a lot of Ambedkarites, I'm going to say probably upwards of a couple hundred Ambedkarites around the world, fraternity is not the first word that comes to their mind. So we'd like to talk a bit about that and about what this means in Dr. Ambedkar's writings and among Ambedkarites today. We'll have some questions for you, and then we'll have some time for Q&A with us. Sound good? All right. Yeah. Good. Just a few words. Please, why don't you say a few words, Dr. Ambedkar?
So, to congratulate Anna for organizing this beautiful birth anniversary of Dr. Ambedkar. I wish you best wishes on the day that brought all of us here, and because of him, we are able to communicate to the world what he thought, what he communicated, what he stands for. Because of him, I'm able to speak to the places like Harvard and communicate with the larger world bodies and the communities across the globe. So congratulate Anna for organizing this beautiful event. I also want to thank Professor John for hosting such a grandiose venue and beautiful hall. I know institutionally how it's difficult to get venues, and having birth celebration or anniversary celebration of Dr. Ambedkar in campus matters a lot, because after all Dr. Ambedkar was a great educationist, and apart from all his great achievements, he shares a major share in universities. So I congratulate, and I also wanted to congratulate spiritual chair of Michigan State University to allowing and hosting a celebration at Michigan State University. So congratulate all of you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. So, Dr. Ambedkar obviously needs no introduction from me. What we want to do is just contextualize a bit what we're going to start with. So we're thinking about Dr. Ambedkar as an economist, attorney, statesman, scholar, activist, and then also talking about Buddhism and conversion to Buddhism. I teach religious studies. I'm talking about religion all the time. People think very often, we start with religion, it means a set of beliefs and doctrines and rituals and texts and things, and that's what religion is. Dr. Ambedkar, you know, does not do it that way. Religion is plugged into all of these other things. As an attorney, statesman, activist, everything. Religion activates part of that. So when we're talking about Buddhism, we're thinking about Buddhism in a very particular way.
Yeah, and as rightly said, we also adopted this mode of interaction with you, so that it's a community event, and we are conscious what we are doing here, why we chose certain slides, why we have selected certain topics. That relates directly with Dr. Ambedkar's life, because it was, I think, 1955, mid of 1955, Dr. Ambedkar invited his close associates at 26 Lansing Road, where he was staying in Delhi. And the next phase of election was about to come. That's the second election in India. And he also wrote the manifesto of Republican Party of India just before this meeting. And he called the closed meeting in 26 Alipur Road at Delhi. And he proclaimed or publicly shared his wish that I'm going to embrace Buddhism. He did not declare the place, but that's what he told his close associates. And his close associates were disappointed. He said that, Babasaheb, why are you bringing dharma in between when we are going to have election, and probably RPI will win and our problem will be solved. Then Dr. Ambedkar, in deep voice, what Khair Modes and all says, Gambhir Awajat. Quite in serious voice, he said that, no, if I do not give the last gift, the final gift, that is the sort of culmination of my vision, I think my revolution is not complete. Because caste is not just the political or social problem, but the notions of inequalities goes quite deep in the mind of India, and that's what I need to root it on. So what he was trying to annihilate in 1936, annihilation of caste, that's what he pragmatically tried to do in practice by embracing Buddhism to establish deep fraternity. That was the vision that Dr. Ambedkar had. That's a very important story. Probably how that unfolded into Ambedkar and Buddhism, the way he thought, probably John can take it.
Right, so when we're thinking about Buddhism, and again, this is what I teach. I'm teaching class right now in South Asia. There are obviously a lot of resources. A lot of people in different places have different ideas about what Buddhism means. Dr. Ambedkar has a lot of inspiration from different sources. One important source that I think is valuable to recognize is he read a lot of Western scholarship. He was not only going to ancient Buddhist texts, and not only talking with Buddhists in Sri Lanka and Burma, Myanmar, and Nepal. He was also reading a lot of Western scholarship, and his way of thinking about Buddhism was a very modern way. My students have noted this in the classes right now, that Dr. Ambedkar is very willing to think about the tradition critically. This is kind of extraordinary for people within the community that you can maybe take this for granted. Of course, this is Buddhism. But in the larger Buddhist worlds, there is something different here. And this is actually a good thing. It's an opportunity, as I'll say here a little bit in the future. I'd like to point out sort of rationalist, scientific, Buddhist modernism. That Dr. Ambedkar, as he's thinking about Buddhism, about this world, not about heavens and hells, not about rebirth, it's this world right now. This is a kind of a different trend. It's something really important to appreciate. So, also thinking about where you all are and the larger scheme of the Ambedkarite migration, especially for labor. So these are, we're thinking people migrate as refugees, sometimes they migrate as people who don't have a whole lot of skills, they're trying to find anything. The migration of Ambedkarites around the world is of people who are very highly educated, following Dr. Ambedkar's advice. So in the 1950s onwards, Punjabis, especially workers, factory workers, steel mill workers, people who did not have high levels of education came to the UK, and they established a community there. Eventually, in the 1970s, there were some mass conversion movements in the UK where Punjabis converted to Ambedkarite Buddhism. And so now we have a community there. As you know, since the 1990s, there are a few people earlier than this, but especially the 90s onwards, Maharashtrian professionals have been migrating around the world. Some people have had MSF background, so they've been trained to organize people and think about how to speak publicly and bring people together. And I've noticed, especially in Dubai, in Japan, in a number of other places, these people have been very active in how do we bring the community together. This is a hard thing to do. Not everybody has this sort of background skill. You just don't assemble people. You have to think about how do you bring them together. MSF kind of helped with that. And as people move around the world, increasingly we find Ambedkarites not only from Maharashtra. And so this also in diaspora starts to raise some different questions that were raised in India. So this is what I've traced in terms of migration. So moving to a number of different places, and this isn't all of them, there are more than this, but this sort of gives you the sense very quickly, this is a global movement. And as a number of you have actually yourselves have experienced, you've been in multiple places. When I moved up here to MSU, I started in 2015. One of my first contacts was Mahesh Wasnik and Trupti Wasnik. And I was starting to get to know Mahesh, and I started asking him, just sort of off the, asking, what sort of language do you speak? And he said, well, we're talking Indian English and Japanese. Japanese? Why would you speak Japanese? That's a strange language to suddenly pick up. And he said, well, I live in Japan. Like, now this is a global thing. People moving around multiple times is changing the movement. There's something, a movement, not only a social movement, movement physically of people. So, we have communities now, as you know, in a lot of places. Many of you know people in these places. And Dr. Ambedkar, this is an installation of a statue. I visited this last summer in Koyasan, Japan. They had one of the Buddhist organizations in Japanese Buddhism. So this has become a pilgrimage site there. This is, to my knowledge, the only vihara outside of India that was built specifically for Ambedkarite Buddhists. Ambedkarite Buddhists go to a lot of different viharas, but this is the only one specifically for them in Wolverhampton. So these are Punjabis. They have a weekly Punjabi service. They also have, in this building back in there, they have a TV studio. So if you can speak Punjabi, go look up Lotus TV online and you'll see their regular broadcasts. You can find an interview with me, actually, with them in Punjabi. I'm hoping that they were saying what they told me they were saying, because I don't speak Punjabi, but that was there. This is an article on a book. This is actually two sides of the same book. You read Arabic from the other side, and so in English and Arabic. So as people go to even to different cultures, different places, they have different challenges. They meet different people. They have to adjust to different conditions as they are pursuing their jobs, as their children are getting education, as you all know. And this has led to a number of different geographic particularities. You're here out of the Detroit area, the Great Lakes region. That's one particularity. If you're in California, that's a little bit different in the US. But it's very different if you're in the UK, where you're interacting, Maharashtrians interacting with Punjabis. That's kind of a different thing. Do you interact with a lot of Punjabis here? A lot of Punjabi Ambedkarites? No, there aren't very many around. That's a different history. So it's a different kind of conversation that involves. You don't have what you actually have in some places, Ravidasis. As part of the anti-caste movement, people get involved. In the UK, it's much more vivid because there's just more Punjabis around. If you're in the Gulf countries, you have to be very careful how you speak about religion publicly. And so Dr. Ambedkar and Buddhism, they have to modulate that. I think that's part of why the significance of Dr. Ambedkar is the title of this and not Dr. Ambedkar's Buddhism. Because if it were Buddhism in the title, this would start to become under surveillance by the different countries, so people have to be careful. So a number of different things, but that's actually just background. What we're really wanting to talk to you today is about fraternity. And I'm talking so much, I'm very conscious of there's so much easier shortly. I'm a professor, it's become very easy for me just to sort of go on. I'm a child trying to control myself. But this is really interesting, it's exciting. Like, I think Dr. Ambedkar is a very innovative thinker. He's doing something very interesting, and as you can see, if you've watched sort of what's publications, in the past 10, 15 years, he has become a very big topic. People are looking to him as a political theorist, looking at how we organize society. Buddhism, not so much just because of the history of Buddhist studies, that's always been more texts, ancient languages and things, but this is changing. So I'd like to look at two uses of the word fraternity. So this, I'm going to show some examples from his writing. This is going to be a little academic, hope you're all able to follow. This is like not too, happy to be out of school for too long. So from the Annihilation Cast, this is fraternity, which is only another name for democracy. Democracy is not merely a form of government, it's primarily a mode of associated living, of conjoint communicated experience. It is essentially an attitude of respect and reverence towards fellow men. Thinking this is earlier in English, fellow people, right? So, people interacting with each other. Democracy. From the preamble of the Constitution. We the people of India, having solemnly resolved the Constitution of India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and certain all its citizens, justice, liberty, and equality, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. There's the word fraternity again. In the debate about the Constitution from Dr. Ambedkar, what does fraternity mean? Fraternity means the sense of common brotherhood of all Indians, of Indians being one people. It is the principle which gives unity and solidarity to social life. It is a difficult thing to achieve. Dr. Ambedkar is pretty clear. This is, you can have the idea, but actually doing it in practice is very hard. Like to pass it on about some in relation to Buddhism.
So we saw that the first set of definition that Dr. Ambedkar was giving about fraternities, he was trying to envisage the notion of fraternity in more secular and also national integrity to build a nation. But as I said from my story, if you come on the second set of his understanding of fraternity, he knew that it's difficult to build because the opposite of fraternity, which is disunity, is deeply rooted in its own culture. And he wanted to root out those cultural conditioning among people so that they re-envision the social, political, cultural, and also religious understanding what Dr. Ambedkar wanted to achieve. So here we come with his sort of the much deeper, if I say so, spiritual side of fraternity, which of course comes through the teachings of the Buddha, where he says that what sustains equality and liberty is fellow feeling. It can't be just a mere abstract idea. You have to have a feeling for it, which is a French Revolution called fraternity. The word fraternity is not an adequate expression. The proper term is what Buddha called Maitri. So Baba Sahib said that fraternity is not equipped word to imagine the democracy I wanted to build in this country, in the sense in India. He said I have to borrow the vocab word from the Buddha's vocab called Maitri. So he anchored that project into a very fundamental humanistic spiritual values. And you see those connections straight back into what Dr. Ambedkar quotes in his own writing, that when King Bimbisara said that, I take refuge, Lord, in the Blessed One, and in the Dhamma, as Bhanteji was trying to guide his Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. So the Sangha, he all the time refers throughout Buddha and his Dhamma as a fraternity of bhikkhus. He uses that word quite consciously, I think, the fraternity of bhikkhus, because he envisioned that's the model for new society. May a blessed one receive me from this day 4 as a lay disciple who has taken refuge in him. Therefore, what fraternity is, it is nothing but another name of brotherhood of men. Mind you, it's old English. So when he is using a men and brotherhood, what he meant as a humanity, men or man, that's old English usage of humanity, which generally we don't use in academic practices. But I don't think Baba Sahib is addressing to one particular gender. So please keep that in mind. I have to highlight it, especially in this country when I talk about Dr. Ambedkar, because gender issues are quite sensitive, and Dr. Ambedkar is one of the greatest feminists that probably we might have come across. So that's what he says, that Buddha preached the Dhamma is a morality and Dhamma as a sacred, and so is the morality. So relate fraternity, look at the flow of ideas in one statement. Mere reading quotation is not enough when we talk about Dr. Ambedkar. The flow of idea, he starts with fraternity, goes with the humanity, goes with the morality. Because if I have a social morality based on inequality, that will divide the country. And that is not integrating the country or any society. And therefore, he models that in the grammar, Pali grammar, volume 16, he wrote, Sangha, he translated as the assembly of Buddha, the fraternity of priests.
So there are two scopes of fraternity. Fraternity here is pointing in a couple different directions. You've seen from the first set that I was talking about to the second set that Dr. Rugg was talking about. Fraternity is related, but they're going in somewhat different directions. It's important to I think, appreciate this. The scope in which he's referring to Buddhism, in the first set especially, is the Indian nation. As the Indian nation gets started, we need to have fraternity to overcome caste prejudice and inequality. We need to have some sense that binds people together as shared citizens to have one nation. What this is doing is actually not really different than in the French Constitution or the American Constitution. This use of the word fraternity, specifically, you can find in a lot of constitutions. This is not unique to India. This isn't unique to Dr. Ambedkar's use of the word fraternity. He's inherited this from this sort of larger global discourse. What's different is where he uses it with Buddhism, and he maps this on. Want to say a bit more about this?
Yeah, I think, it's not mere a political concept for him. Therefore, also, there are a lot of debates that Buddhism is a political move. Buddhism was a political conversion. Well, of course, it's a political statement in the sense of bringing equality and fraternity. But then he equates that with the Buddha's teaching, Maitri, vis-a-vis the Brahminical idea of relating each other on the basis of which caste or class or the status you are born in. That is the frequent English translation of Sangha that Dr. Ambedkar uses. And it's extremely important relating fraternity, brotherhood, and morality, and the uses of sacred. I will just explain that in one sentence. What is sacred here? Dr. Ambedkar unfolds morality at two levels. First is sacred, second is universal. What is sacred? Sacred, if you, pavitrata, the word we use, is not the ritualistic purity he is referring to. Sacred means no self. If you do not have my caste self or recognizing too much with your caste, and you become casteless mind, that is sacred for you. And once you become sacred, only then you can become universal. Otherwise, you will carry that identity all across, or every Indian would carry their caste identity all across wherever they travel. That wouldn't be universal. Therefore, you see, even relating back to your diaspora studies, you don't have that universal fraternity. And that's what Dr. Ambedkar is hinting when he's talking morality is sacred, and therefore it has to be universal.
One thing I think that I find, and I'm always highlighting for my students, is that the words that Dr. Ambedkar uses, we've got a cross-cultural translation going on, that's always a challenge. But Dr. Ambedkar is doing something, I think, that is so new and different, that he's using words in ways that the words didn't traditionally mean them. So the words are always trying to point us somewhere, but they're not perfect words. Like, our language is limited. So even our thoughts are limited. He's trying to point in a direction that he doesn't entirely have good words for. So the sacred, notion of sacred, we can take it in a very religious sense, in a very practical sense. Sacred means something special. Special and highly elevated, and that's what we respect ultimately. And I think in that sense of sacred, can be something that holds people together. But these words, all of even Dr. Ambedkar's words, I think in reading Dr. Ambedkar, I very much appreciate, he's always saying, ask questions, be critical, be rational. I don't think he would say, but my words, take my word for it, don't think about me, just accept it. He's not doing that. All of the words that he's using in the 1950s, which is not now, have to be rethought, and they have to be applied in new ways, especially in diaspora, which is different than the Indian context. So, in the context of the Indian nation, Dr. Ambedkar talks about India becoming Prabhuddha Bharat, right, awakened India, and a sense of a new nationality, of people coming together as fellow citizens. And then there's the question, well, what is the role of Buddhism in Prabhuddha Bharat? Does this mean that all Indians are supposed to convert to Buddhism? That's sort of an uncomfortable question. You can see why a lot of people would have some reservations about that and not feel entirely enthused. What does Buddhism here mean? For especially people coming out of a background in Maharashtra, especially a Mahar background, it's a little bit easier to convert because there's so many people who've done it. From other communities, this is a bigger challenge. So, the future role of Buddhism, that's a question. In India, if you're only thinking in the context of Indian politics, then Buddhism gets enmeshed in Indian politics in a very particular way, as Dr. Rao mentioned, with the Republican Party of India, with politicians. It has to be mapped on that. But if you're outside India, what do you do with Prabhuddha Bharat? Are you then oriented to creating Prabhuddha Bharat in India, even though you're not there? That can be a possibility. Or, if you're thinking about being Prabhuddha nationhood in, say, the US, should we have Prabhuddha America? Do Americans all need to convert to Buddhism? I don't think that's what Ambedkar was quite thinking either. I don't know, maybe he was, but I'm kind of inclined to think that probably is the direction. Here in the US, in terms of experiencing being an ethnic minority among a lot of other people, to actually seeing other religions, this is a very different scene, obviously, than India. And so, there's some challenges here. I'm not quite sure why our professional audio is sort of always standing there in the middle. But there's some challenges here. These are the ones that I see. And we have had a lot of conversations over the past several years, coming from different backgrounds, seeing different things, and I think hopefully you certainly always enlighten me. The conversation is very helpful because we have different perspectives. These are just things I see. If you disagree with them, you're entirely welcome to, and please correct me afterwards. These are sort of my perceptions. One big thing among Ambedkar Buddhists right now, Ambedkarite Buddhists, is reckoning with the fact that traditionally, Ambedkarite Buddhists are by and large Mahars from Maharashtra, and the real strength is probably safe to say from Vidarbha. and from the Nagpur area. When I've been moving around and interviewing Ambedkarites in Japan, Dubai, and other places, and I ask people where they're from, I would say at least 80% of the people that I meet are from Vidar. And Dr. Robinson introduced me to this term, Jati Patti. That not only are they from Nagpur, but even more strongly than that, they're from this sort of area east of Nagpur, which is not like, the scholars that I talk to, nobody's ever heard the term Jati Patti. But there's an extra dimension here to the strength of the movement. It comes from somewhere. That's a good thing, nothing wrong with that, but it represents sociologically a center. Another big question are, who are Ambedkarite authorities? What is the relationship of traditional monastic sanghas with Ambedkarite authorities who aren't all monks and nuns? This is an open question. Dr. Ambedkar was not a monk, so what do we do with that? That's a question. Another big thing that directly relates to your lives is the diaspora experience. So it's the experience of having a community and a language and a background which is in a minority group, in a larger context where you have other people doing completely other things, many of whom have no idea about India at all. You're always communicating like what you're about, and people asking, well, what do you think? What do you believe? What do you think? What food do you eat? Things like that. And as you're all experiencing, many of you are experiencing, there is a big gender gap. A generational gap. So coming from India, having grown up there, having ideas about what it means to be Ambedkarite and Buddhist, and then children growing up here are two really different worlds. And that happens here. The reason I show this image here is this is in Japan, in the Dhammacakra Parivartana, and so they had two posts for this. One boy was speaking in English, the other boy was speaking fluent Japanese. He announced everything in Japanese. And so there are now Ambedkarite children, some of whom go to Japanese schools, are now in Japanese colleges, who think of themselves as Japanese. That is the first term they think of themselves as, not Indian. This generational difference is going to change, and I'm sure you're seeing it. It's inevitable. This is not something to sort of like feel sad about, something's gotten lost. This is an inevitable change, and how Ambedkarite Buddhism is going to fit with that, big question.
So that's the first set of challenge. I think it's so important area when we talk about Ambedkar, Buddhism, or even caste in general outside India. These are the challenges we need to be consciously aware of that. Not just aware of that, but how we are going to address that, how we are going to face it. So again, if I refer back to the annihilation of caste, Dr. Ambedkar speaks about fraternity and also about indifferentism. Indifferentism is the worst kind of disease that can infect people, because immediately, as John very rightly pointed out, Professor Quinn rightly pointed out, tendency of ghettoizing or sectarian or like Punjabis, and they are also Ambedkarite, but the interaction and the problem that Dr. Ambedkar was trying to highlight is a factionalism. The divides that are in the community, Dr. Ambedkar see that as a foremost challenge to establish fraternity. But he not only highlights the problem, he is a fantastic and unique thinker. He questions, he highlights problem, and then he gives solution. That's the Buddhist sort of method Dr. Ambedkar adopts in his writing, speeches, everywhere in his life. So you see that as the precept we have taken, Panchashilas, Panatipata, Vairamani, and so on and so forth, is the foundation. And he says that he see as a positive sympathy. What do we understand by positive sympathy when Dr. Ambedkar uses that expression in the context of factionalism and fraternity? He is evoking, as he expresses the positive sympathy. What does that mean? Means wherever there is goodwill, wherever there is love that breaks everyone, it's our responsibility to respond to that, to accommodate that in terms of our fluidity or flexibility or adaptability, and to achieve and having the common goal in our mind, where he refers that expression, reformation of the world cannot be done unless we reform our own mind. That is in Buddha and Karl Marx. But he was speaking to the Buddhist countries who were in the swing of lot of leftist communist revolution, idea of revolution in Kathmandu. He was not addressing to the Dalits, he was not addressing to untouchables or any Indians. Therefore, he evokes that spirit of positive sympathy with all good that happens. Like I just came from Bristol 3 days ago. I was talking to black Buddhists, and they were trying to understand how Dr. Ambedkar have adopted Buddhist values to emancipate untouchables or caste oppressed people. How black Buddhists would understand the Buddhism I am speaking. It's easy for me to speak with you. How would I translate that to not just black, white communities or other progressive thinkers and communities who care for world's fraternal spirit or the spirit of love? Christianity speaks a lot about language of love. How do I understand that? I think that's where Dr. Ambedkar tried to form a solidarity, a greater solidarity, where this community or probably his people carry that responsibility to translate Dr. Ambedkar with the values and the methods that Dr. Ambedkar gives, not to reduce down him as a liberator of Dalits or a particular caste and communities, not to just individual, but for all. Otherwise, there is a danger between moksha and margana that Dr. Ambedkar is trying to frame the Buddha.
So, I would say there are some opportunities. That many times when I talk with Ambedkarite groups, they're very often kind of focused on the challenges. There are definitely challenges, lots of them. But there are some opportunities that I'm not sure that I've heard a lot of Ambedkarites really fully recognize. There's some genuine opportunities that Dr. Ambedkar kind of gave that kind of put you in a different position than most other Buddhists in the world. So there is, because Dr. Ambedkar, we can also say it would be a wonderful thing if Dr. Ambedkar had lived longer than 7 weeks after the conversion, and he had written more about Buddhism and had more time to be a leader. And that's certainly true, but because there is not a very strong organization of what it means to be Ambedkarite Buddhist, there is also not a sense of confinement. Organizations provide direction, and that's good, but organizations also end up putting limits on what people do. And it strikes me that right now, the Ambedkarite movement, looking sociologically, so I study religion, a lot of it, different countries, different contexts, different traditions, and there is this sort of window of time when a new tradition is formed, when it's still relatively flexible, and people can explore and they can think of new ideas, and they can start to kind of go in new directions. That window will close, and people will start to become more sort of hard-lined and say, no, it's exactly, what it means to be Buddhist is exactly this and not that, and then it becomes even a little bit oppressive. Right now, Ambedkarite Buddhists are in that window of opportunity. So that's something kind of sociologically unique. This is not going to last very long. Ambedkarites today, I would say, are not exactly bound by tradition. Dr. Ambedkar wasn't bound by tradition. He was able to think very creatively and critically. If he had been living in Thailand, or in Sri Lanka, or Vietnam, or maybe Taiwan or China or Japan, where there was a lot of Buddhism around, and there was a very clear Sangha, and there were people who had monasteries, and so there was a flow of income, and they wanted to protect their authority, and protect their property, and protect all these things. If Dr. Ambedkar had come up with his ideas in these places, imagine what that might have been like. I think he would have been shut down and said, no, this isn't real Buddhism, you've got it all wrong, you're thinking about it, you're not being traditional, and they would have said, stop. But because he was in central India, he had the freedom to do this. And it strikes me that you have the freedom also to do this. To be thinking about what is Buddhism for you, without a whole lot of oppressive structure telling you what you need to believe and what you need to think. This is pretty liberating. And when it comes to religion, this is rather unique. Ambedkar's Buddhism is also a vision for social democracy. It's turned towards society. He's talking immediately on modern terms in a way that in more traditional Buddhist countries, they didn't get to do because they had this weight of old language. Ambedkar has just started with modern language. It started with social democracy and liberty, equality, and fraternity. That's where you start.
Hello everyone. So we were just talking about what is fraternity in diaspora in Ambedkar community. So we were thinking about that we as a community in the US, particularly in Michigan, we come together and celebrate all the festivals like Baba Sahib Jayanti or Dhamma Chakraborty. So when we come here, we see that connectedness in our community. That is the main thing for us as a fraternity. How that can be transformed to the other communities, that is another thing. But we think that coming together and celebrating the shared values and shared goals for as a community and good for the vision, the vision for our Ambedkar community and Buddhist community. That is what we are thinking as a fraternity.
Great, thank you. So one thing I'm hearing is these events. People come together for Ambedkar Jayanti, Dhamma Chakraborty. Yeah, so big events, that's one element of fraternity, one sort of very tangible way we see it. Another volunteer to say something? Everybody's volunteering somebody else, nice. That's a nice technique. Are you willing to say something?
I think fraternity for passing to our young kids. I know they are born and brought up in US. The first thought that comes to their mind is, I am a US citizen. But how can we let them know, okay, you are a US citizen, but we meet as a community together, right? We have events, we talk about it. And for example, today we were going to this event. My daughter asked, Mommy, where are we going? So I said to her, oh, we are celebrating Dr. Ambedkar's birthday. Who is him? So that's how we are passing our knowledge to him. So they understand, though we are living in a country here, but we have our roots tied by our parents and family and friends for them to go and learn about that. Thank you.
Great. So yeah, the events give you a chance to talk with your children and communicate this intergenerational. We have maybe one more, and then we'll go on to the next question.
I will add, so Jamie, I will add just a couple of comments what US taught me and how that relates to fraternity. It's not exactly Ambedkar diaspora, but the US teaching. So one thing is equality and respect. And in India, you will see the class barrier, like the people who are at the good post, higher post, they do not equally value the lesser class people, the cleaning staff and all those. In US, you will see they are very respectfully, treated respectfully and with equal status. So if you go to schools, the janitors in the schools are treated really well, with respect, with equal level. So that's one I noticed as a fraternity Buddhism.
But also national integrity and harmony of the various communities, or harmony among various communities. That's what he meant by positive sympathy. So it's not just, oh, I feel for your caste, but what shall I do? Oh, you are in this class, oh, therefore you support and now your life is okay. Okay, but what about larger goal and suffering that we all are passing through? In fact, just on that note, in differentiation, Dr. Ambedkar said, this disease not only dehumanizes oppressed, it also dehumanizes oppressor. They both are dehumanizing themselves. That's very important. So that's what we meant by positive sympathy. for a long your question. I'm sorry.
So we have before this slide, there is one statement before this slide. So there is no organization, no limit to the Ambedkar right. So can you take it? What is your thought in opposite way? There is no limit. There is no limit for the Ambedkar right. No organizations, so no limit kind of thing. So yeah, before this slide. Yeah, this is Ambedkar right today are not bonded by the tradition. So what is your view on other way? Is directionless or question mark?
I think, no, that's a good question, and we were discussing this right just last night. Ambedkar today are not bound by tradition. Maybe, like I would quote John rightly said, that there was no pressure or burden of traditional history. For example, if Dr. Ambedkar revived Buddhism in Bangladesh in traditional society or in Sri Lanka, if I talk about fraternity and Maitri, traditional Buddhism wouldn't accept that. That's not our tradition. Or talk about Vipassana or talk about any Buddhist ritual in traditional Buddhist country, it's very difficult. For example, even example of Sulak Shivraj in Thailand, when he was trying to revive socially engaged Buddhism, he faced a lot of challenge because of traditional set of Buddhism is already available. What happened with us, if I use that language, right? What happened with us? We did not have monks. We were in old traditions, right? Brahminical traditions, or the tradition that called us as caste name or by birth-based identities, right? So I think Dr. Ambedkar had a lot of freedom in that sense. With his wisdom, he applied this principle as, again, Professor Kun said that social democracy, Buddhism as a social democracy, and his vision for how then he can infuse the same spirit of democracy from Buddhist values. I don't think French Revolution thought liberty, equality, fraternity are the Buddhist teaching. They are not. Educate, organize, and agitate are the Buddhist teaching. They are not. Right? They are modern Western political or educational concept. But it's the genius of Dr. Ambedkar that he anchored that into modern frame of Buddhism. I was interviewing Bhikkhu Bodhi in November. So one of the tallest figure in translation of Pali, and you must be aware of his name. And I was talking the same conversation, but what do you think about this? He said that the values that Dr. Ambedkar taught in modern time was already implied or implicit in Buddha's teaching, but Dr. Ambedkar amplified it. So that's how he gives us a lens. He amplified it. Look, this is what Buddha meant about caste. No one becomes Brahmin because of their birth. No one becomes Brahmin because of their sort of status. You become Brahmana or nobleman only communal, by your karmas, by your actions. So that's the spirit Dr. Ambedkar translated when he was talking about traditions. Of course, among all volumes we share, Dr. Ambedkar wrote a small book called Buddha Puja Path, and he said that Buddham Saranam Gacchami means Buddha la Sharan Jata. That's the traditional translation. If you read Buddha Puja Path, Baba Sahib said, me Buddha la Anusarana. I'm following the footsteps of the Buddha. That's the spirit of Margadata and Mokshadata. So he sort of shifts your spirit more towards, radical is not an equipped word, but more sort of critique, give you critique, Kantian spirit, or more sort of inquiring spirit. Dr. Ambedkar enters into a Buddha's thought to present that. So I think he is having an ambitious project to have a new tradition For example, Sangha, lay and monk should be part of my Sangha, Dr. Ambedkar said. He was not happy with the monks of that time. He said army of idlers, for example. So he's producing his critic, right? So that's the tradition which will, like, I don't know, I don't have answer. We all are in a formative state now. Buddhism is only 70-year-old for us, right? But the entire traditional analysis and the critique that Dr. Ambedkar tries to give us is trying to establish something very new so that there wouldn't be a mere pressure of traditions but the spirit of liberation.
Could I just make a couple more short points and then we'll conclude?
Unless, yeah, please.
Yeah, I think we should probably use the
Okay.
lunch. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So one point, just in my conversations with Ambedkarites and talking with a lot of people, there's a certain, one phrase came up very often with Ambedkarites in diaspora. A lot of people said that they were born Buddhist, and it wasn't really until they moved abroad, then they started saying, well, what does this actually mean? Moving abroad and being in the minority caused the question in a way that it had not occurred to a lot of people in India. Obviously, lots of people in India have been thinking about this too, but I just heard this so often from so many diaspora Ambedkarites. Like suddenly they're trying to think, well, what does this mean for me? What should I be doing? Like, well, how do I understand this? And it prompts a new kind of question, a new kind of curiosity to then try to find resources about applying Ambedkar's ideas and what to understand in Buddhism, because you know, if you go on YouTube, you can find all kinds of things about Buddhism. And a lot of it's not going to be relevant, and a lot of it will even be wrong. So that's not a reliable source of information. So how are you going to cultivate some sort of new understanding, knowing that Dr. Ambedkar and his idea of Buddhism are doing something different anyways? This is in process. And so that's something I deeply sympathize with, is like people trying to figure it out. This is a really difficult thing. Dr. Ambedkar did not exactly give you a roadmap. He started the process, and after 7 weeks, then he was gone. This is an unfinished process that you are kind of finishing. That's difficult. Another piece I'd just like to say before I close is in my own research, talking with a lot of Ambedkarites around the world my research has really sort of reshaped my ideas. There's one particular one that actually kind of triggered this, that put me on this route, and that's Trupti. I want to kind of, especially show gratitude to her. She had come to one of my classes on Buddhism and was talking about what being Ambedkarite and being Buddhist meant for her, and she said some things, and that's another conversation I'm not going to say here. But it was what she said that sort of like kind of shocked me. It was like, oh, raised new questions for me, put a new paradigm in how I was understanding Buddhism. And so I just want to point out the conversations I have with you, especially Trupti, thank you. This has been immensely influential for me, and I've been very much inspired by it. So maybe with that, kind of close. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for allowing me to be in your lives. And thank you. May you be well, may you be happy. Thank you very much. Thank you.
उरला भीम घटनाकार विद्येलाही पूर्ण उरला असा विद्याधार देशा सावरलं त्या गांधीला तारलं देशा सावरलं त्या गांधीला तारलं पेनाच्या त्या टोकावर पेनाच्या त्या टोकावर किती शोभला असता भीम नोटावर कायन कोटावर किती शोभला असता भीम नोटावर कायन कोटावर
किती शोभला असता भीम नोटावर कायन कोटावर किती शोभला असता भीम नोटावर कायन कोटावर
राष्ट्रपिता गांधी आणि जवाहर होते त्यात एक महान माझे भीमराव नेते ना कधीच हरले मागे ना सरले ना कधीच हरले मागे ना सरले केला इशारा त्या बोटावर केला इशारा त्या बोटावर किती शोभला असता भीम नोटावर कायन कोटावर
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lansing, and for those of you who don't know me, I'm 17-year-old and currently a junior at Lansing Western High School. This community, this association has always felt like home to me, not just because I grew up with it around me, but because I grew up with it. This organization became official a few months after I was born, and ever since I've been surrounded by Ambedkar's vision, values, and his voice. I've seen the work my mom and dad have put into it, and I've watched how much heart and strength this space holds for so many families, including mine. But even though Ambedkar's impact has shaped so much of my life, it didn't take long for me to realize that the world outside of this community didn't always see it that same way. When I was in 9th grade, I took AP World History, and I remember flipping through the huge textbook, looking through chapter after chapter about the world-changing figures, those who created revolutions, resistance, and human rights. I kept waiting to see his name, and he mentioned a footnote, a line, something, but there was nothing, not a single word. And it hit me. A man who fought for millions, a man who rewrote what it means to belong, a man who challenged an entire system with nothing but brilliance, persistence, and fire. Nothing was there. And I sat with that for a while, and honestly, it made me frustrated. Because if we only learn about change through a Western lens, if we only read about one kind of freedom, one kind of power, one kind of story, we miss out on the kind of truth that actually builds justice for everyone. But I realized something else too. I didn't learn about Ambedkar from a classroom. I didn't need a textbook to understand who he was or why he mattered. I learned about him through life, through what I saw at home, through what this community has taught me, through the way my parents always told me to speak up when I saw something wrong, and to always make room for people who were pushed aside. And because of that, I grew up in a different kind of confidence. The kind that tells you that you are not less, you are not alone, and you are not broken for demanding respect. That's what Ambedkar gave us. Not just laws or speeches or reforms, but a voice, a blueprint, a way to see ourselves and each other with full dignity. And now, as I get older, I see more clearly just how powerful that gift is. Because we still live in a world where people are silenced, where voices are ignored, and where history is rewritten to exclude the very people who built it. So when I think about Ambedkar's legacy, I don't see it as something to be remembered. I see it as something to be lived. Every time we speak out, every time we raise our hand, every time we stand in a space that wasn't designed for us, and take up the room anyway. That's how we continue his work. And I know that's what this organization is about. I know that's why we're here today. We're not just honoring the past, we're building a future. So no, he wasn't in my AP World History textbook, but he's in my story. He's in my values. He's the way I carry myself, the way I speak, and the way I try to see the world. Not just as it is, but as it should be. And that to me is more powerful than any page in a textbook. Thank you, and JB.
Thank you, Sana, for reminding us how powerful impact Baba Sahib is having us on our lives. And now, it's time for the gentlemen to showcase their talent. Please put your hands together for the men's dance, a performance that promises to be energetic and captivating. Please welcome Mr. Sandeep, Mr. Ratan, Mr. Anshul, and Mr. Akshay for the dance.
The 7 rows.
दुःखनिरोधगामिनी पटिपदा अरियसच्चम् अयमेव अरियो अठङ्गिको मग्गो सेयतिदम् सम्मा दिट्ठि सम्मा संकल्पो सम्मा वाचा सम्मा कम्मन्तो सम्मा आजीवो सम्मा वायामो सम्मा सति सम्मा समाधि बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि संघं शरणं गच्छामि साधु 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 बुद्ध शासनं चिरं तिष्ठतु बुद्ध शासनं चिरं तिष्ठतु बुद्ध शासनं चिरं तिष्ठतु.
Thank you, Krantitai, for connecting us to the Four Noble Truths. To continue with our celebration, I'm thrilled about the next performance. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar said, "We must stand on our feet and fight as best as we can for our rights. So carry on your agitation and organize your forces. Power and prestige will come to you through struggle." These words have a powerful impact on our lives. Similarly, our next performance, Bhim Garjana. Bhim Garjana is a way of expressing enthusiasm and pride for Baba Sahib. Please welcome Mr. Chatak, Mr. Akshay, Mr. Pankaj, Mr. Vivek, Mr. Sanjay, and Mr. Rajiv to the stage.
So thanks to Krantitai, this concept of Bhim Garjana suggested by Krantitai. ऐका हो ऐका, गौरव भीमाचा, विश्वरत्न, विश्वभूषण, भारतरत्न, युगपुरुष डॉक्टर बाबासाहेब आंबेडकरांचा विजय असो, विजय असो. अर्थशास्त्री, समाज मंत्री, कायदे मंत्री, कामगार मंत्री डॉक्टर बाबासाहेब आंबेडकरांचा विजय असो, विजय असो. महान इतिहासकार, महाविद्वान, महानायक, महामानव डॉक्टर बाबासाहेब आंबेडकरांचा विजय असो, विजय असो. संविधान निर्माते, लोकशाही निर्माते, स्त्री उद्धारकर्ता, समाज सुधारक डॉक्टर बाबासाहेब आंबेडकरांचा विजय असो, विजय असो. क्रांती सूर्य, बोधिसत्व, परमपूज्य डॉक्टर बाबासाहेब आंबेडकरांचा विजय असो, विजय असो. Thank you.
Please welcome Arun.
जगामध्ये कुठं बी जाय, साऱ्या जगामध्ये कुठं बी जाय, माझ्या भीमाचा दरार आहे. दुश्मन जण जण खतवून जागे, इकडे तिकडे बघू नको बाप भीमराव हाय. साऱ्या जगामध्ये कुठं बी जाय, साऱ्या जगामध्ये कुठं बी जाय, माझ्या भीमाचा दरार आहे. साऱ्या जगामध्ये कुठं बी जाय, माझ्या भीमाचा दरार आहे. साऱ्या जगामध्ये कुठं बी जाय, माझ्या बाबाचा दरार आहे.
We have another young man. Please invite Anwar Raipure for his presentation. He will be speaking about Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and archaeological references.
Dear everyone, my name is Anwar Raipure and I am in 5th grade. Today I will be talking about Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and Buddhist archaeology. Today I want to delve into the fascinating intersections of Buddhist archaeology and the profound insights of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, a man who not only reshaped the social landscape of India but also offered a revolutionary reinterpretation of Buddhism. Ambedkar's engagement with Buddhism wasn't merely a philosophical pursuit. It was a deeply rooted exploration of historical evidence and social justice. He saw in Buddhism a powerful tool for liberation, a path to dismantle the oppressive structures of the caste system. Buddhist Sangha. To understand this, we must examine how he utilized archaeological and historical records to support his argument. One of the most compelling aspects of Ambedkar's analysis was his focus on the ancient Buddhist Sangha. He meticulously studied the Vinaya Pitaka, the monastic code, and recognized within its structure a sophisticated system of democratic governance. He pointed to the procedures of voting, debate, and conscious building practiced by the Sangha, arguing that these were clear precedents for democratic principles in India. This wasn't just speculation. It was grounded in the tangible evidence of ancient Buddhist sites and texts that detailed the functioning of these communities. Archaeology and inscriptions. Imagine the ruins of Nalanda or Sarnath, once bustling centers of Buddhist learning and practice. These sites, meticulously excavated and studied, reveal the architectural grandeur and organizationally complexity of the Sangha. Archaeology findings such as inscriptions and artifacts provide concrete evidence of the administrative and local structures that Ambedkar referenced. He understood that these physical remnants were not mere historical curiosities, but powerful testimonies to the elegant ideals that were underpinned by early Buddhism. He used historical evidence to challenge the narrative that the decline of Buddhism in India was a natural phenomenon. He argued that it was systematically suppressed by the resurgence of Brahmanism, fueled by political and social forces. He examined the historical context of the Moody and Gupta periods, highlighting the shifting contemporary and the changing fortunes of different religious traditions. The Buddha and his Dhamma. Ambedkar, however, didn't just accept traditional interpretations of Buddhist texts. He critically analyzed them, challenging aspects as he deemed incompatible with reason and social justice. His magnum opus, The Buddha and his Dhamma, is a testament to his approach. He reconstructed the life and teachings of the Buddha, emphasizing his rationalism, his rejection of ritualism, and his unwavering commitment to equality. Moreover, Ambedkar's conversation to Buddhism for new people was a deliberate act of reclaiming and He didn't just simply embrace a pre-existing tradition. He reinterpreted it to address the specific needs of the oppressed. He sought to create a Buddhism that was relevant to the service of the Latino. A Buddhism that empowered them to break free from the shackles of caste discrimination. In conclusion, Ambedkar's engagement with Buddhist archaeology and text was not just an academic exercise. It was a revolutionary act of social and intellect in liberation. He used historical evidence to challenge the dominant narratives, to reclaim a lost heritage, and to create a new path for the oppressed. By studying the ruins of ancient Buddhist sites and the pages of ancient Buddhist texts, he found not only important facts, but also powerful visions of just an equitable society. His work serves as a reminder that history is not just a collection of dates and events, but a living testament to the enduring struggle for human dignity and equality. Thank you for giving this opportunity to speak to Dr. Ambedkar and Buddhist archaeology.
Moving on, let's invite our next young speaker, Msu And Aana. He will be speaking about contribution to the improvement of our society. Please join me in welcoming him. Let's give him a round of applause for welcoming him.
JB to all. My name is Msu And Aana, and I'm going to talk about the impact of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar on students. I would like to start my speech by paying homage to Mahatma Phule, who was born on April 11, 1827. Mahatma Phule had a profound impact on Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, particularly in terms of their shared vision for social reform and their commitment to challenging the oppressed caste system. While both of them were pioneers in advocating for the rights of the marginalized and downtrodden, Fule's work laid the intellectual and social foundation for Babasaheb Ambedkar's later efforts. Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar had a profound and lasting impact on students, especially in India. His contribution to education, social justice, women's empowerment, and the empowerment of oppressed communities have inspired generations of students across the country. Here's a breakdown of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar on students. Number 1, inspiration for pursuing education. Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar's own journey began from being born into an untouchable family to becoming a prominent scholar and the architect of the Indian Constitution, serves as a powerful example for students, especially those from disadvantaged backgrounds. His relentless pursuit of knowledge, despite facing discrimination, showed students that education is a key tool for empowerment and social mobility. He earned multiple degrees, including a law degree and a doctorate in economics from Columbia University, which sets a remarkable example for students from all walks of life to aim for academic excellence. Number 2, promotion of equality and social justice. Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar advocates for the rights of Dalits, women, and other marginalized groups. Resonates with students. His work laid the foundation of movement that sought to eliminate caste-based discrimination and promote equality. Students are inspired by his efforts to ensure that education and social opportunities are available to all, regardless of caste or social status. Number 3, social reform, and women's empowerment. Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar was also a pioneer in advocating for the rights of women. His efforts in the Hindu Code Bill and his support for women's rights have motivated students to fight for gender equality and social reform. His progressive stance on women's education and empowerment has encouraged many students, especially women, to pursue their goals without fear of gender-based limitations. Number 4, role in shaping democratic values. Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar was pivotal in forming the Indian Constitution, which guarantees fundamental rights to all citizens. His emphasis on democracy, justice, and the rule of law has a significant impact on students' understanding of civil rights. Number 5, promotion of rational thinking and scientific temper. Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar was a firm advocate for rational thinking, scientific temper, and modern education. He encouraged students to reject blind faith and superstition, which were particularly prevented in tradition-based, caste-based practices. His emphasis in rationality and logic resonated with students of contemporary times, promoting an education system that values inquiry and knowledge over outdated beliefs. Conclusion. Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar's ideas and principles continue to resonate with students who are committed to create a just and inclusive world. Thank you.
जेरे की वाणी सिंह सी लागे रे जय जय भीम बाबा जय जय भीम मुख्तेजर भी सासा जेरे की वाणी सिंह सी लागे रे गाँव गाँव और गली गली में जिसका डंका बाजे रे जय जय भीम बाबा जय जय भीम जय जय भीम बाबा जय जय भीम दलितों के उत्थान को लेकर रहा जो सबसे आगे लड़ा अकेले दुनिया से वो सुख दुख अपना त्यागे आंखों में समता की ज्वाला हो आंखों में समता की ज्वाला होठों पे ताली जय जय भीम बाबा जय जय भीम जय जय भीम बाबा जय जय भीम चैत की 14 सन 1891 एक मसीहा जन्मा था एमपी के मोहगांव में
चैत की 14 सन 1891 एक मसीहा जन्मा था एमपी के मोहगांव में
धन्यवाद की कोख की जिससे ऐसा लाल भी जागे जाति पात की जड़ को जिसने रखड़ा ना हिला के तुझसा पिता हो जिस वाले को होना कभी यतीम जय जय भीम बाबा जय जय भीम जय जय भीम बाबा जय जय भीम काला चश्मा सोहे हाथ में उनके पोथी लिखकर संविधान जलाई लोकतंत्र की ज्योति
हाथ में काला चश्मा सोहे हाथ में उनके पोथी लिखकर संविधान जलाई लोकतंत्र की ज्योति
दिल में आज भी जन जन के ये भारत रत्न विराजे करते हैं आभार प्रकट हम चरण धूल रखवाते देवतुल्य था आदम रूप में वो था महामहिम जय जय भीम बाबा जय जय भीम
Moving forward, we have a presentation by another young person, Arlene Walker. He will be talking about Mahabodhi Temple located in Bodh Gaya, Bihar, India. Please welcome Arlene to the stage for his presentation.
I'm going to get started. So my presentation is about the Mahabodhi Vihara, and I'm Arlene Walker. Hello guys. My name is Arlene Walke, and I'm going to talk about the Mahabodhi Vihara. Okay guys, so before I start, I'm going to give an introduction about myself. As I'm the one giving this presentation, let me introduce myself before we start. JB, my name is Arlene Walke, I'm 14 years old, in 9th grade. This presentation, I'm going to talk about a key issue concerning Buddhists like us today, as of right now. This issue relates to the Mahabodhi Vihara. Before that, let me tell you a little bit as myself. As I already mentioned, I am 14 years old and in 9th grade, and some hobbies I enjoy, including playing soccer and taekwondo. Other than that, I like science and math and reading the subjects I like in middle school. Other than playing soccer outside, in the summer I also build Lego sets and just relaxing. This is just something about me, but that's not that important. Let me first give a short summary about the Mahabodhi Vihara. To start, the Mahabodhi Vihara, also known as the Mahabodhi Temple Complex, is a significant Buddhist site located in Bodh Gaya, Bihar, India. It marks the place where Siddhartha Gautama, known as the Buddha, attained enlightenment under the Bodhi tree. The complex includes the main temple, the Vajrasana, the diamond throne, the Bodhi tree, and various other sites associated with Buddha's enlightenment. One key to that is that the Mahabodhi Vihara is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and is recognized for the historical and religious significance. But let me also talk about the significance of April 14th. To start, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, born on April 14, 1891, was a distinguished jurist, economist, politician, and social reformer, renowned as the principal architect of the Indian Constitution. His birth anniversary, celebrated as Ambedkar Jayanti, is observed at various events and honors events in India and worldwide. This special day is recognized in India with the government of India declaring April 14th as a public holiday for central government offices. Similarly, Delhi's Lieutenant Governor has announced it a holiday for all government offices, autonomous bodies, and public sector matters in the cabinet. Additionally, the state of Tamil Nadu is commemorating today as Equality Day to honor Ambedkar's legacy. So, what's happening with the Mahabodhi Vihara right now? To start, the Mahabodhi Vihara, located in Bodh Gaya, India, has recently been at the center of significant developments. In early 2025, the All India Buddhist Forum, alongside various Buddhist organizations, intensified efforts to gain full control over the Mahabodhi Vihara. They are advocating for the repeal of the Bodh Gaya Temple Act of 1949, which currently allows non-Buddhists to oversee the temple's maintenance. Akash Lama, the forum's general secretary, emphasized that this administration contradicts Buddhist teachings and promotes commercialization. To press their demands, the forum has organized peaceful protests, a nationwide signature campaign, and submitted over 500 memorandums to key government officials. An indefinite hunger strike commenced on February 12, 2025, coinciding with the Hindu holiday known as Nava Purnima to further their cause. There has also been efforts from outside India, with leaders like Dr. Harman Birdi, the international coordinator of the Federation of Ambedkar and Buddhist organizations in the UK. He's been supporting call for this country. He highlighted that the struggle for control has been ongoing over a century, referencing efforts by Angarkika Dhamkala in the 19th century. where he stressed the need for the Indian government to respect Buddhist rights and return the Mahagodi Mahadevara to a joyful people. These events just touch the surface of what is happening with the Mahagodi Mahadevara. I'm also aware of the effect of the efforts done by Anna toward this cause, and I definitely appreciate Anna's debt for Mahagodi Mahadevara. Thank you.
Next, I would like to invite Arohi. Arohi, if you're ready. And meanwhile, I just want to do a small announcement. Let's not discourage kids. Just please try to remain silent, and please take care of the kids who are being a bit noisy and enjoying themselves, because the speaker's voice is not audible.
Life. Dr. Ambedkar was an Indian Jew, social reformer, economist, and the principal architect of the Indian Constitution. Born on April 14, 1891, in Lahore. He belonged to the Dalit community, which he faced severe discrimination. Despite these challenges, Ambedkar pursued education with determination and became one of the most learned scholars of his time. Born into a marginalized Lahar family, Ambedkar experienced caste discrimination from a very young age. However, he excelled in academics and was one of the first Dalits to receive higher education. He earned degrees from prestigious institutions including Elphinstone College, Columbia University, London School of Economics, and Gray's Inn. Ambedkar strongly opposed to the caste system and worked for the rights of Dalits, women, and other marginalized communities. He made movements for temple entry and water resources for the Dalits. As the chairman of the drafting committee of the Constitution, he played a crucial role in shaping Indian democracy, ensuring rights and advocating for justice. Ideas on economics, policies, labor rights, and education forms were instrumental in modernizing Indian government. Ambedkar passed away on December 6, 1956. He was a post Lee awarded the Bharat Ratna in 1990. India's highest civil justice movements, and he remains and will inspire others of his equality, education, and empowerment. JP.
Please welcome Sarika.
Ooh. Okay. That's-
I call upon stage Mayuri, Supriya, Neha, Ruti, Trupti, Rohini,
Jai Hind everyone, hope you are enjoying the program. We are attempting traditional Marathi Povada. This is originally written by our friend Ravi Kiran Shinde, he is from Arizona. We modified this song a little bit because of the technical limitations of the performer here. So we are trying our song. I have Pankaj Chauhan with me and Akshay Gaikwad, Raju and Vivek. So we are trying this song. Please appreciate it.
from India. Walking through the library, he come across Dr. Ambedkar's bust. Indians lovingly call Dr. Ambedkar as Baba Sahib.
Wait a minute. Is that Dr. Ambedkar? Oh, wow. Great. Babsai was here in Colombia. Yes. It's written here. He had been studying here during 1930 to 1960.
Women got fascinated that Dr. B.R. Ambedkar studied here in Columbia University, and he wanted to find out more about him. Amit got Dr. Ambedkar's writing and speeches book from the library. He got to know that there is an organization in US, ANA, Ambedkar Association of North America, that donated these books to the library and made it available in US.
Babsai, you are my ideal, my inspiration. As you said, cultivation of mind should be the ultimate aim of human existence. I agree. We should invest in ourselves to become the best version of who we can be. You are an inspiration of many. However, I have always wondered, who is your inspiration? I got it. One of Baba Sahib's favorite teachers was John Dewey. Baba Sahib deeply admired him. While at university, Baba Sahib was exposed to Dewey's progressive educational ideas, and it had an impact on Baba Sahib's educational philosophy. Mr. Dewey believed that education should empower a person to think critically, act ethically, and contribute meaningfully to society. He changed fundamental approaches to teaching and learning. He is best known for philosophical movement of pragmatism. Mr. Dewey taught at University of Michigan, University of Chicago, and University of Columbia as a professor of philosophy. Education is not a preparation for life. Education is life itself. What a deep insights he had. He was way ahead of his time. Oh gosh, Abraham Lincoln, USA's 16th president. He is widely regarded as one of the greatest presidents for his leadership during the Civil War and the abolition of slavery. Dr. Ambedkar deeply admired Mr. Lincoln's bold action to abolish the institution of slavery in the United States. Those who deny freedom to others deserve it not for themselves. How deep these words are, so wise. Dr. Ambedkar found in him a source of inspiration and guidance in his own quest for social reform and civil rights in India. With Mr. Lincoln's Declaration of Emancipation proclamation that all enslaved people are forever free within the Confederacy, Abraham Lincoln said, "Whenever I hear anyone arguing for slavery, I feel a strong impulse to see it tried on them personally." Great.
Amit found out Dr. Ambedkar was influenced by various personalities and thinkers throughout his life. John Dewey, Abraham Lincoln, among them, who played a vital role in shaping Dr. Ambedkar's thoughts and ideology.
Any kind of social segregation, whether it may be gender, race, color, class, or caste, it should never exist as it anyway discriminates. I strongly believe those who support or justify without rectifying it, they should experience it themselves first. Who saved slaves and gave freedom. one who saved untouchables and gave freedom. One who paved the path of pragmatic education for liberation. I wonder how it would have been if these three existed today.
Amit fell asleep and dreamed of Dr. Ambedkar, John Dewey, and Abraham Lincoln meeting in a coffee shop and having a conversation.
What's on your mind today?
Education, Professor. I believe education is the only thing for this nation. And you do it very well. It's near and dear to my heart.
Absolutely. I know that. Though for you, getting an education has never been easy, right? The Indian caste system is very deeply rooted. So lower caste people have been denied access to education since ages. They considered you an untouchable. You weren't even allowed to go to schools like other kids. You were sitting in the back corner of your class on your own carry bag, which you had to bring and carry back after the school every day. You weren't even allowed to touch public water. No fuel, no water. That was the circumstances. In all such conditions, you studied, facing countless humiliations and disappointments at every stage. Somehow, you managed to study with scholarship. You were able to study abroad, got PhDs with many other higher degrees. Despite having unbelievable academic achievements, on returning back to India, your circumstances remained the same. Again, no fuel, no water. In your workplace too, you remained untouchable. Now it's heartening to see how far you have come, breaking all barriers. Your passion and determination are truly inspiring all around the world, my dear. You know, Ambedkar, the fight for education and social justice is an ongoing struggle. It needs dedication like you have.
Absolutely right, Mr. Dewey.
Thanks, Professor. Your words have been enlightened. You see, my life is full of struggles and disappointments. And I don't want anyone to face what I went through. Your teachings on experimental learning and on developing critical thinking skills have greatly influenced my own approach to education.
I'm glad to hear that. Though, let's not forget the role of democracy in shaping the education system, right?
Ambedkar, drafting a constitution can be a real puzzle, isn't it?
You see, I tried to lay down some ground rules for a fair game that fits everyone.
Well said, Doctor. Everyone is entitled to equal rights and opportunities under the law. You know, Mr. Dewey, drafting a constitution is not everyone's cup of tea.
Absolutely. I wonder, Ambedkar, how had you been chosen to draft constitution for such a diverse country, while others were there holding law degrees? You weren't even favored among them. You know, caste prejudice was still there.
Let me say on this. Ambedkar is a prominent legal scholar. His intellectual capabilities, deep understanding of socio-economic challenges in India at that time. His unique unique perspective and reputation made him a key figure shaping the fundamental document for independent nation. No one there was qualified as him, and he played the role excellently, my dear Ambedkar.
Thank you, Mr. Lincoln. Coming from someone who fought against slavery, your words mean a lot, you see.
Ambedkar, your dedication to cause of social justice reminds me of the struggle we faced in America in my time. I always believe democracy is the government of the people, by the people, for the people.
Indeed, Mr. Lincoln, your leadership in abolishing slavery and your steadfast commitment to equality have left an indelible mark on the world. You see, it gives us courage and compassion.
Your Emancipation Proclamation was a turning point, Mr. President. It was a bold step towards a more just, inclusive society.
It was a necessary step, though I believe then, I do now, that we all are created equal and endowed with equal rights. Let's not forget about the importance of empathy and understanding as well. This is what drove me to recognize the humanity in every person, regardless of race or color. My own battle with legislation to end slavery were fierce but necessary. Yet, even after Emancipation Proclamation, the struggle for equality is still ongoing.
Yes, laws alone can't change heart and minds. We must foster empathy and understanding among people from different backgrounds. You know, education plays utmost role.
Absolutely, Professor. It's about addressing systematic injustices from all angles. You see, I must say, cultivation of mind should be the ultimate aim of human existence.
Mr. Dubey and Dr. Ambedkar, our legacies may be separate, but our shared values unite us across the generations. Cheers to equality, yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
Cheers to liberty.
I'm fixed with excitement and sense of gratitude.
Cheers to equality, liberty, fraternity.
Thank you everyone for this. Up next is a musical tribute to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's theme songs inspire us to continue Dr. Ambedkar's work in our daily lives, striving for a world where justice and equality prevail. Please welcome Mr. Akshay to the stage. He will be singing the song by Baman Dada Karar. The song name is Pani Vargamai.
Jai Bhim everyone. So I'm singing a song to tribute to the Kamandada Karad. So he wrote the song for asking the water, the woman, a person asking for the water, requesting the water because the normal people, the untouchables don't have the rights to that water that we drink every day. So this is a song about the requesting a water. मी नहीं मागत स्वर्ग मी नहीं मागत स्वर्ग माझं जीवनच मी नहीं मागत स्वर्ग Thank you, Chair.
भीम माझा कोहिनूर भारताचा बुद्धाचा मार्ग त्याने दाविला तारणाचा बुद्धाचा मार्ग त्याने दाविला तारणाचा जीवन पथास उजळे होऊन दीपस्तंभ जीवन पथास उजळे होऊन दीपस्तंभ प्रबुद्ध बुद्ध करण्या केला इथे आरंभ उज्ज्वल भविष्यासाठी झिजला तो देह त्यांचा बुद्धाचा मार्ग त्याने दाविला तारणाचा बुद्धाचा मार्ग त्याने दाविला तारणाचा होता तो भीम माझा कोहिनूर भारताचा बुद्धाचा मार्ग त्याने दाविला तारणाचा ग्रंथात ग्रंथरूपी राही अमर तो आज ग्रंथात ग्रंथरूपी राही अमर तो आज विष्णू कधी नलोपे प्रगल्भ भीमराज बलवान पूज्य ठरला आदर्श गौतमाचा बुद्धाचा मार्ग त्याने दाविला होता तो भीम माझा कोहिनूर भारताचा होता तो भीम माझा कोहिनूर भारताचा बुद्धाचा मार्ग त्याने दाविला तारणाचा बुद्धाचा मार्ग त्याने दाविला तारणाचा थँक्यू
राष्ट्र संविधान का है तू ही शिल्पकार तू ही शिल्पकार तू ही शिल्पकार तूने ही सिखाया है समानता का सार समानता का सार समानता का सार राष्ट्र संविधान का है तू ही शिल्पकार तूने ही सिखाया है समानता का सार अपनी कलम से की है देश अर्चना एक एक शब्द तेरा भीम गर्जना साहिब मेरे साहिब मेरे भीमराव साहिब मेरे भीमराव साहिब मेरे भीमराव साहिब मेरे भीमराव साहिब मेरे
रुकना अब नहीं झुकना अब नहीं इतिहास कर नया शेर जा निकल सारे रुख बदल दिखला जोश नया रुकना अब नहीं झुकना अब नहीं इतिहास कर नया शेर जा निकल सारे रुख बदल दिखला जोश नया साथ चलो साथ है बुद्ध की राहें डट के चलो मंजिलें खोले बाहें साथ चलो साथ है बुद्ध की राहें डट के चलो मंजिलें खोले बाहें जय भीम क्रांति का नारा है जय भीम दुनिया में न्यारा है जय भीम सबका सहारा है जय भीम जहाँ से भी प्यारा है जय भीम क्रांति का नारा है जय भीम दुनिया में न्यारा है जय भीम सबका सहारा है जय भीम जहाँ से भी प्यारा है जय भीम
आकाशातला तारा आकाशातला तारा भीमतारा माझ्या बापाचा देश सारा आकाशातला तारा माझ्या बापाचा देश सारा आकाशातला तारा माझ्या बापाचा देश सारा
Dr. Santosh to please come up on the stage and share your thoughts regarding this celebration and auspicious day. Anyone who is new and would like to introduce, give a brief introduction about themselves, please raise your hands or please free to come up on the stage.
जय भीम सर्वांना. मी प्रज्ञा रामचंद्र खिंडागळे आणि हे माझी दोन मुलं क्षितिज आणि प्रतीक. माझे मिस्टर पण आलेले आहेत. आम्ही ग्रँड रॅपिड्समध्ये आहोत. मागचे 3-3.5 वर्षापासून तिथे आहोत. त्याच्या आधी कॅलिफोर्नियामध्ये होतो. 2011 पासून आहोत आणि बेसिकली आम्ही पुण्यातून आहे आणि माझे सासू सासरे आई वडील ते अहमदनगर जिल्ह्यातून आहेत. धन्यवाद. थँक्यू.
Hello, Jai Bhim, Namo Buddhaya. I'm Rajesh Kamle. I keep visiting US, like back and forth to India and US. Nishi is my younger bro. We both studied in the same school, which Baba Sahib Ambedkar instituted, People's Education Society. Right from class junior KG to class 12. Though he was 2 years junior to me, I am class of 94 IIT Bombay pass out. Then I did my executive leadership from Cornell Business School US. I was vice president with Reliance Industries. Then I went on to become group head India with Thyssen Group, and then the final was CIO with a mid-sized company, Rigway Technologies. That was on the corporate and my career. And then comes that, okay, I have been supporting our community. I have myself counseled close to 52,000 students from our community. Nishi knows that very well. We work for Saman Sangh back in India, and then we kind of go to slums and we tutor the students, we counsel them. I myself have recruited, being as a vice president at Reliance, 700 students from our community. I have signed those offer letters all by myself. And my request to all of you, because that was my question early morning, in the early morning session when I raised my hand, how would the community here in the US do a help back in India? How could you as an intellectual group sitting out here can help support it back in India, because we need your support. We are in bad phase, believe me. I am in India, living in India, and we are in a very bad phase. So your help, your support, your intellectual, your education, your monetary, whatever support you can, I can tell you, is well solicited. Thank you. Jai Bhim, Namo Buddhaya.
Thank you, Kamleji. I'm not giving any talk. I just wanted to give information about this retreat. Those who are interested, first time in North America, a residential retreat on Dr. Ambedkar's teaching of liberation, equality, love and justice has been set up. It is set up at Barre Center for Buddhist Center, that is in Western Massachusetts. This center is a very prestigious Buddhist center where a lot of when American Buddhism started developing, since Roshi's coming to America and Vipassana and Goldstein and Jack Canfield started movement about insight meditation movement. I think that center is set up, and you must have heard about mindfulness, stress reduction, MBSR techniques. These all are incubated in that Western Massachusetts area. I think I'm very happy and I'm thankful on behalf of all of us to Barry Center for Buddhist Studies. They have devoted 6 nights and 7 days deeper insights into Dr. Ambedkar's Buddhist vision of transforming self and society. So there are 3 teachers that are teaching this retreat. Vimal Sara, she is a very well-known teacher, also very active among Black Buddhist movement and caste and race discourse. Of course, I'm leading that for 6 days. And third teacher is Upaidi. She is a PhD scholar at University of Chicago. The 3 of us are ordained in Triratna order. But how Dr. Ambedkar, as in the morning we were discussing about his ideas, taking deeper into American context. So there will be participant professors, students, practitioners, and also Ambedkarite people who are going to participate. There are limited seats, only 30 seats are there. They are not taking more than 30 people. That's the capacity of retreat center. I just wanted to let you know, if any one of you are interested, it is expensive fees, but they are happy to waive that on the basis of your request. They are happy to provide some scholarship to participate in that retreat. So if you are interested, please go to the site called BCBS. That's the Barry Center for Buddhist Studies. And if you search Ambedkar retreat, it will pop up on internet. So that's what I just wanted to say. Thank you very much.
This is my first time joining this event, so I'm Ramchandra Kanyagare. From last 3 years, I'm staying in Grand Rapids. I'm working with Capture as a project manager. And yeah, it's nice to meet all of you here. Thank you. My wife? Okay.
Thank you, sir. Bagre, sir.
Hello, JB everyone. My name is Vijay Bagre. Actually, I am from Canada. Last year, September, I moved to Ohio, Lima. I am in the oil and gas sector, working last 34 years. I started my journey from Indian Oil Corporation back in India, moved to Middle East, worked there for 6 years, moved to Canada, worked there for around 15 years, and now I am in USA. So last 34 years I am associated with various organizations. So this is a privilege for me to be associated with AANA and other associations that are working for Ambedkar movement. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? I will introduce my mother-in-law. She has been first time coming to US.
Hello. सर्वांना माझं जय भीम. माझं नाव देवदास केसर मध्ये केसर नंदा समाज स्वरूप भंडारा जिल्हा.
माय जगात त्याच्या नावाची नोंद लिहून आली, अशी मोठी भीम साहेबान कामगिरी केली. कुणी नाही केलं कुणी नाही केलं भलव माय दिल्लीचं दालन फुलव माय कुणी नाही केलं भलव माय मग दिल्लीचं दालन फुलव माय एका वकिलाच्या लेखणीनं त्याच्या कायद्याच्या आखणीनं आमच्या हक्काचं लेखन व माय मग कुणी नाही केलं भलव माय अग दिल्लीचं दालन फुलव माय तुमच्या पोरानं शाळेत शिकावं आशाला जारीला मुकावं असं सभेमध्ये भाषण व माय मग कुणी नाही केलं भलव माय अग दिल्लीचं दालन फुलव माय त्या नागाच्या नागपुरात आणलं बुद्धाच्या घरात नामकरण हे नवव माय अग कुणी नाही केलं भलव माय ते दिल्लीचं दालन फुलव माय त्या रामजी बाबा प्रमाण काल सागर आमचा अभिमान जनछावणीचं राखण व माय आग कुणी
So far, as the ultimate goal is concerned, I think none of us need have any apprehensions. None of us need have any doubt. But my fear, which I must express clearly, is this. Our difficulty, as I said, is not about the ultimate future. Our difficulty is how to make the heterogeneous mess that we have today take a decision in common and march in a cooperative way on that road which is bound to lead us to unity. Our difficulty is not with regard to the ultimate. Our difficulty is with regard to the beginning.